Hi there. It's good to share this quiet with you. Outside, the night has settled in a deep, peaceful hush, and we can let the rush of the day drift far away. Allow your mind to become a still, dark lake, reflecting only the distant light of the cosmos. Tonight, our gentle journey takes us to the very edge of motion, the famous, beautiful, and absolute speed of light. We often think of light as the undisputed champion, the fastest thing. There is a universal speed limit that nothing, no particle or signal, can ever exceed. But if we slow down, if we dim the spotlight and listen closely to the whispers of quantum physics, we might discover something truly wonderful. We'll wonder together if there are threads in the universe that can connect 2 points in space and time faster than a photon can travel. It's a concept that is both deeply complex and utterly calming in its mystery. If this gentle wondering helps settle your thoughts or brings a soft spark to your curiosity, a quiet like and a warm subscribe helps others find their way to this stillness too. For now, just drift. Let your mind become vast and unhurried. When you're ready, we'll begin this very quiet exploration together. In the quiet of your imagination, you can let yourself drift as if nothing is holding you down. There is no ceiling, no floor, only a soft weightlessness that feels like being cradled by the night itself. Far away, the stars glimmer, but what draws your attention is smaller and stranger, a single narrow thread of gold. Not a roaring sun, not a swirling galaxy, just a beam of light, steady and thin, crossing the silence as if it knows exactly where to go. It moves at a speed almost too large for thought, about 300,000 kilometers every second, fast enough to loop around the Earth 7 times in the time it takes to blink. The number is clumsy compared to the reality, but it gives your mind something to hold. There is no strain in this motion, no sound of effort. The light does not try to be fast. It simply is, traveling at the swiftest pace the universe allows, in a lane where nothing with weight can ever catch up. Hidden inside that speed is a boundary. From the light's own point of view, if it could have one, there is no journey, no beginning, no middle, no arrival. The distance between star and eye, between flame and wall, collapses into a single instant. Events that, for you, are separated by minutes or years become one act of being. You could chase that beam forever and still never share its frame of reference. It is not merely quick, it rests right at the edge of what is possible. Einstein spent long, quiet hours with that edge and found that time itself bends to protect it. As anything with mass moves closer to light speed, its ticking slows. A moving clock runs a little lazy compared to one that stays behind. A traveler racing past you would age more gently, their seconds stretched thin. Distances along their path shrink, as if space itself is willing to fold. To push matter all the way to light speed would demand infinite energy, and the universe quietly refuses. So everything with weight circles just below that limit. Light alone moves exactly on it. You can imagine drifting closer to that golden beam, wondering what it would feel like to ride beside it. If you could somehow keep pace, matching its rush through the dark, the familiar flow of time would fall away. There would be no before or after, no ticking to separate one event from the next. Every scene the universe will ever hold, the birth of stars, the rise and fall of worlds, the quiet of future nights, would lie together in a single unmoving now. For light, there is no waiting. There is only presence. That thought settles gently, and you begin to sense that light does more than move through time. It quietly sets the rhythm that time follows. Its speed becomes the standard against which every second is measured, the hidden beat that keeps the cosmic clock in tune. Physicists call this speed c, a small letter that appears in their equations again and again, like a steady pulse under all the complexity. Even when no one is thinking about it, c is there, woven into the rules that let atoms bind, stars shine, and signals whisper from one world to another. You never see the number itself in your day, but you live inside its consequences. The warmth that slid down from the sun this morning, the glow of a screen across the room, the soft color painted on evening clouds, each is a message carried by light at that same unwavering pace. Every ray brings news from somewhere, from a filament, from a flame, from a star that may have gone dark long ago. Without that ceaseless river of light, the universe would have no way to show its shapes, no way to tell its history. If nothing bends the space it crosses, a beam of light will follow a straight, patient line forever. But space can curve. Wherever mass gathers stars, planets, great swirls of unseen matter, the fabric of space-time dips and tilts. You can picture the universe as a soft sheet stretched out under everything. Heavy objects press into it, making hollows. Light always follows the straightest possible path, yet straight is defined by those curves, so its route appears to bend when it passes something massive. Seen from far away, that bending turns gravity into a kind of lens. Light from very distant galaxies can be focused or stretched into delicate arcs by the weight of clusters that lie in front of them. This gravitational lensing lets you glimpse places you could never otherwise see. Somewhere in a telescope's quiet eye, ancient beams are tugged into rings and smears, tracing the invisible structure between their source and you. By racing forward, light quietly maps the stillness of the cosmic skeleton it passes. Your thoughts narrow to a single photon, a tiny packet of light, born at the surface of the Sunday. In the story you usually tell, it takes about 8 minutes to cross the gulf between star and Earth. Those minutes are real for you. They can be counted and divided. But relativity says that as something moves faster and faster, its own time slows. Push that speed all the way to lights, and the idea of during disappears. From the photon's perspective, the instant it leaves the sun and the instant it touches your skin are the same moment. Time stops looking like a single river carrying everything along at one rate. It feels more like a pattern that shifts with motion. For you, sitting still on Earth, seconds line up obediently. Heartbeats follow one another. Thoughts rise and fade. Days stack into years. For something racing close to light speed, those seconds stretch. For light itself, they vanish altogether. The equations do not fail here. They reveal that light lives in a kind of timelessness, while everything else only approaches it. You may begin to wonder what a moment really is, if its length depends on who is watching. Perhaps the present is less a moving point and more a still pool of awareness. Sensations fall into it one by one, sending ripples outward: memory, expectation, feeling. Your mind threads those ripples into the story of time flowing underneath. The pool remains, always here. You have brushed against this feeling before. In deep sleep, hours can fold into what feels like a single breath. You close your eyes at night, and a heartbeat later, morning is leaning at the window. Dreams can fill what seems like days of experience, even though only minutes have passed. In those times, your personal sense of time loosens. You borrow, just a little, from light's way of slipping outside the usual count. Einstein showed that motion and time are threads braided together, move faster, and your internal clock slows compared with someone who stays behind. Astronauts circling above Earth carry their own slightly different time. Their cells, their thoughts, their watches all tick at a rhythm that is almost the same as yours, but not quite. The difference is tiny, too small to feel, but it is there, measurable and real. Time is not a single rigid grid laid over the cosmos. It is a collection of overlapping rhythms, one for every path through space. In the middle of all these rhythms, light remains the exception. It has no tick or tock, no sequence of moments. It does not keep a history. It simply connects events, carrying information from one to another. To be human is to move through time, to grow, to remember, to hope. To be light is to rest at the boundary, touching every moment without belonging to any of them. You can picture your life as a thin curve drawn through space-time. Each point along it is a scene: bright afternoons, forgotten worries, quiet nights, future mornings you have not yet reached. Physicists call this curve your world line. To you, it feels as though you are always at its front, leaving the past behind. But in the universe's broader view, the whole line already exists, from first moment to last, woven like a finished thread into a vast tapestry. Light does not trace a curve like that. It rides along the very edge of the diagram where time barely stretches at all, a messenger slipping between points on other world lines. There is a soft comfort in thinking that perhaps nothing truly happens to the universe in the way you experience it. Everything that will be already is. You are simply moving through the slice your awareness can hold. You think again of that photon from the sun, the one that found you without ever feeling its journey. It may have been born long before you were, forged in the blazing interior of the star, taking ages to work its way outward. Then, in 8 of your minutes, it crossed open space and arrived on your cheek, in your eyes, on a leaf at your feet. For the photon, there was no waiting, only arrival. Letting that idea rest, the next breath you notice may feel a little slower, the pause between in and out a bit wider. In that small pause lies a hint of the stillness that light seems to inhabit all the time. Eternity begins to feel less like endless years and more like the absence of counting, a quiet that does not depend on duration. From there, your attention can slip towards something softer and more familiar, the way shadows move. There is a particular peace in watching a shadow change. It never rushes, never demands attention. It simply stretches and shrinks as the day leans from one side of the sky to the other. Shadows are, in a gentle way, time made visible. They appear wherever light meets resistance, where brilliance is interrupted by something solid and real. You might remember sunlight falling through a window and meeting your hand. Behind your fingers, a dark shape appears on the wall or the floor, following your outline, but living at its own pace. That shape has no weight, yet it moves with you, lengthening when you step away from the light, curling close when you draw nearer. For every bright beam, there must be a place it cannot reach. That untouched place is the shadow. Unlike a photon, a shadow is not truly a traveler. It has no speed the universe could list. It changes only because you or the light source move, yet it can feel as though it has its own slow life. In the evening, shadows pour quietly across streets and fields. At dawn, they pull back in, gathering around the feet that cast them. To physics, They are simply boundaries of illumination, the edges where light is refused. Every object, from a cup on your table to a moon in orbit, shapes the light around it, and therefore the darkness behind it. You can imagine standing on the moon, watching Earth's shadow drift across the face of the sun in an eclipse. In that moment, your entire planet becomes an artist, painting with darkness on the bright canvas of space. The edge of that moving shadow can, in a sense, sweep faster than any rocket, because it is not a solid thing but a changing absence. The darkness itself is only a map of where light does not go. Back on Earth, when you see your shadow slide along the floor as the sun arcs overhead, you are watching the hidden motions of the cosmos turn small and familiar. That slow glide is tied to the rotation of the planet, its orbit around the star, the tilt that brings seasons. Slowness is not the opposite of speed. It is the stage that makes speed possible. Without the steady turning of the world, the swift flash of light and the dance of shadows would have nowhere to appear. Perhaps you remember an evening when the line between light and dark crept across a wall, and dust turned lazily in the beam. The border was not sharp. There was a soft region where brightness and shadow mingled. Photons were scattering and bouncing. Some slipped past your hand, some sank into your skin, some reflected away. The edge blurred. Light refuses to be too harsh. Darkness refuses to be absolute. In that gray in-between, your eyes learn to see. Rest gives meaning to motion. Shade gives shape to light. Far away, astronomers use shadows as instruments. When a planet far beyond our solar system passes in front of its star, the star's glow dims by a tiny amount. That small, rhythmic dip, a cosmic shadow across a distant sun, reveals an entire hidden world. From those faint changes in light, they can estimate the planet's size, its orbit, even hints of the air wrapped around it. The unseen announces itself, not by shining, but by what it blocks. So when you notice your own shadow stretched softly on the floor, you are sharing a pattern with worlds light years away. Light, obstruction, absence, presence, traced by a gap in a broader brightness. Each shadow is a kind of slow handwriting, a record of something real, standing in the path of radiance. Your thoughts turn inward. The mind has its own shadows, quiet regions where memories rest, feelings soften, questions wait without words. They are not empty. They add depth and relief. Without them, constant clarity would be overwhelming, like staring into the midday sun with nothing to soften the glare. Understanding grows not only from what you can see clearly, but also from what waits just beyond the edge of knowing. Somewhere above, the ceiling gathers its own faint constellations, small patterns of light and dark. You might imagine them as tiny galaxies, each patch of brightness and shade taking part in a slow, patient dance. On every scale, from dust motes to planets to the edges of black holes, shadows and light move together, tracing the shapes of whatever they touch. Around real black holes, where gravity is so strong that not even light escapes, telescopes have begun to glimpse a kind of ultimate shadow, a dark circle rimmed with distorted fire, where light almost makes it out and then quietly disappears. Even there, at the edge of what can be seen, it is still light that tells the story by what bends, by what fades, and by what is missing. Resting with that thought, the universe starts to feel a little less hurried and a little more kind, as if it isn't asking you to solve it, only to notice how gently brightness and darkness keep each other company. Around a black hole like that, light behaves in a strange, quiet way. It rushes inward at its perfect speed, and past a certain invisible edge simply never returns. From far away, that missing light becomes the very shadow you've imagined, a dark circle among the stars, a silhouette made of absence. As hot gas and wandering stars orbit and fall, that shadow seems to drift slowly across space-time, like a mark moving on soft fabric. It turns into a kind of clock, ticking in centuries instead of seconds, reminding you that not all change is quick. Some things move so slowly you only feel them over ages, and some hardly move at all, yet still reshape everything around them, just as that quiet, unwavering darkness reshapes the paths of light itself. Thinking of that stillness, you notice your own. Your heartbeat eases into a softer rhythm, your breathing settles into a gentle pattern, and tiny electrical pulses travel along neurons inside your brain, signals far slower than light, yet quick enough to build worlds of memory and imagination. In their quiet flicker, you feel how different speed and experience can be, and a question appears: if even shadows hold stories, what secrets might be inside the smallest piece of light? You imagine yourself once more at the edge of the sun, wrapped in a golden hush. Below you, the surface swirls and boils like bright, restless water. From this glowing ocean, countless photons are born each second. Each is weightless and too small to picture, yet each carries a tiny portion of the sun's fire. You reach toward one of them, a single photon, hovering at the boundary between star and space. It has no memory of before, no sense of after, and yet it holds warmth that may one day touch your skin. The photon begins its journey, not because it decides to, but because that is what light does. It moves outward at the speed of light, the same constant that quietly appears in equations and sets the rhythm of the cosmos. From your point of view, the photon travels along a path for a certain length of time. From the photon's own perspective, relativity says that time simply does not pass. There is no distance to cross, no waiting, only a single, timeless now. For you, sunlight takes a little more than 8 minutes to travel from the sun to Earth, crossing almost 150 million kilometers of thin, dark space. Those minutes can be counted, divided, watched on a clock, yet to the photon, they never exist. It is already where it is going. There is a calm hidden in that idea that movement and arrival might be the same event, seen differently from different frames of time. In your mind, you follow the photon as it leaves the bright surface. Invisible magnetic fields arch and twist around it, guiding storms of charged particles. The photon glides through all of this untouched. It has no charge, no mass to tug on, no hesitation. It joins a quiet sea of other photons and faint ripples of gravity and ancient starlight, still traveling since the universe was young. Through this vast, nearly empty space, it moves without friction or sound, guided only by the shape of space-time. It passes the orbit of Mercury, then Venus, and at last approaches the thin blue veil of Earth's atmosphere. Here the emptiness becomes busy. Molecules of nitrogen and oxygen turn and collide, scattering many incoming photons in all directions. That scattering is what makes the sky look blue during the day, a color woven from countless tiny deflections. Yet the photon you are following is not flung aside. It continues downward, slipping between molecules, through cloud and air, until it meets something waiting. It touches a leaf. Inside the leaf, in the quiet green heart of a chlorophyll molecule, electrons wait in a poised, ready state. When the photon arrives, its energy is absorbed in an instant. As a photon, it is gone. But what it carried is not. Its energy becomes part of photosynthesis, the slow, patient chemistry that plants perform everywhere around you. That spark helps split water, releasing oxygen into the air and sending stored energy deeper into the plant. Sugar forms, cells divide, roots thicken in the soil, branches reach farther toward the sky. Over time, fruit ripens, wood hardens, seeds form and scatter. The photon that began as pure light now lives on as sweetness, as warmth in a future fire, as the breath that will one day fill your lungs. It has turned from light into life. The universe seems to murmur through this. Nothing is truly lost, only changed. You imagine, gently, that the photon could speak. Perhaps it would say, "I have crossed emptiness to find you. I have no memory, yet I carry your future. I am not only motion, I am connection." Its voice would be more feeling than sound, reminding you that the atoms in your body were once parts of older stars, forged in stellar hearts that burned and faded long ago. You are, quite literally, condensed starlight. That realization settles around you like a soft blanket. The air feels gentler. The space between one breath and the next feels a little wider. The photon's story is one of patience inside speed. It moves faster than anything, yet its purpose unfolds slowly, from star to leaf, from leaf to life, from life to awareness. You remember that photons behave both as particles and as waves. They can spread and overlap like ripples on a pond, exploring many possible paths at once. Only when something interacts with them, an atom, a grain of dust, an eye, does one path become real. This precise but mysterious behavior is the quantum strangeness of light. It does not choose as you do. It simply offers possibilities until the universe answers. You feel a quiet echo of that in yourself. Before you act, many futures are open inside you, turning this way or that, speaking or staying silent. The moment you choose, one path becomes your story, and the others fade back into maybe. In a small way, you too collapse a wave of possibilities into a single lived moment. The photon becomes a mirror, showing that reality is not completely rigid. It shimmers with options, and then gently settles on one. In that tiny unit of light, a pattern hides: constant speed, continual transformation, and an ease with waiting across long distances and long times. Once more you picture the sun, endlessly creating new photons. Some stream toward Earth. Others fly out into deeper space, never touching eye or leaf or stone, but still carrying their portion of the star's energy into the dark. Each one, wherever it ends, is a bridge between matter and energy, between emptiness and presence. You think of the light that will spill across your pillow tomorrow morning, warming the fabric and touching your eyelids. Each ray is a message from the past, from a star older than any of your memories. You will never touch the sun with your hands, yet every day it reaches you through these small messengers. Every moment of warmth on your skin is a quiet handshake with the cosmos. Your breathing deepens, your heart continues its patient rhythm, another pattern of energy, slower than light, but just as important. Before your thoughts drift further, another question glows softly in your mind. If light can become life, what does it become when it turns into sight? You imagine the room around you in soft daylight. The same photons that crossed space and bounced from walls, clouds, and distant surfaces now arrive to gently wake your world. You never actually see the objects themselves. You see the light that leaves them, every edge, every color, Every small motion is nothing more than photons arranged in patterns your mind knows how to read. Your eyes are quiet observatories made of living tissue. Curved lenses bend incoming light toward the back of each eye, where tiny pigment molecules wait. When photons meet them, small bursts of energy begin chemical reactions. Billions of these tiny events each second form a flowing stream of signals from eyes to brain. And from that stream, your mind builds a world. It is humbling to remember how indirect this is. You never touch things as they are. You touch only the photons they send you. The table by your bed, the leaves outside, the face you love, all are known through the light that leaves them and reaches you. When that light stops, the scene falls into darkness, though everything is still there. Light quietly draws the edges of your experience and erases them again when it goes. Other creatures listen to different parts of light's song. Bees can see patterns in ultraviolet. Some animals sense infrared or use hidden cues in the sky. Their worlds include colors and signals you will never notice, reminding you that your reality is only a narrow slice of a much wider spectrum. Inside your brain, quiet miracles make sight feel simple. The image on your retina is flat and imperfect, full of gaps and tiny shadows. Yet from this, your mind rebuilds depth and motion. It fills in missing pieces, smooths over blind spots, and stitches moments together, so you feel a steady world instead of a flicker. You are not a passive witness to the universe. You are an active partner in how it appears. You think of your own eyes again, two small spheres of water and tissue, yet able to decode whispers from the deep past. The rods and cones in your retina respond to astonishingly faint light. Long before humans, simple, light-sensitive spots helped early life tell day from night. Over ages, those spots grew more complex, shaping eyes that could track motion and find what they needed to survive. Vision is survival, written in brightness and shadow. Even your internal clock listens to light. Morning's cooler tones quietly encourage wakefulness, while evening's softer reds and golds nudge your body toward rest. Through this subtle language of photons, the sun keeps your biology in step with the turning world. You start to feel that seeing is less about collecting images and more about relationship. The light that reaches you is not a stranger. It is a bridge between matter and awareness, carrying news from everything it touches. It connects your inner life to stars, to oceans, to quiet rooms and passing faces. The same photons that let you see also let you be seen. Light bounces from your skin, your hair, the fabric around you. Some of those photons may end in another person's eyes. Others slip past and continue into space, carrying traces of you outward. The thought brings a quiet smile. You are not separate from this exchange of light. You are woven into it. Even in deep night, the conversation never truly stops. There is always a faint background glow of ancient radiation, old photons from the universe's beginning, still moving into the dark. You sit quietly inside this web of light, bathed in signals that have traveled impossible distances and times, shaped by atoms, clouds, and chance. Slowly, you begin to see that what you call seeing is not just a function of eyes, but an act of belonging to the dance of energy that makes the world visible at all. Your breath moves in and out. The air feels almost luminous in your awareness. The photon's whisper lingers. Every color, every glint, every soft reflection is the universe speaking in brightness. And yet, as you rest in that gentle glow, another curiosity forms like a small wave on a quiet sea. If light defines so much of what you know, What does it mean when it disappears? What lives in the places where light rarely reaches, in the deep, soundless darkness that still surrounds almost everything? Darkness has a kind of sound, not a note in the air, but the soft hum of silence when everything else has stopped. It is not pure absence. It is the pause between moments, the space that lets brightness breathe. You lie still and let your eyes half open to the room. Even here, where light is thin and edges blur, the world does not vanish. Your pupils widen, searching for any stray photon from some distant wall or screen, and your mind stretches those tiny clues into shape. You begin to sense that darkness is not the enemy of light, but its partner, the background that makes radiance possible. Without it, there would be no contrast, no boundary, no place for glow to unfold. In the universe, darkness is the rule, and light is the rare interruption. And here you are, a small island of awareness, able to notice both. When you carry that feeling outward, the room becomes a small echo of a much larger truth. Most of the universe is not bright at all. Stars and galaxies are tiny islands of glow in a vast sea of black, and between them stretches an enormous, silent expanse where photons can travel for billions of years without touching anything. When you look up at the night sky, your eyes go first to the stars, but most of what you're really seeing is the darkness between them, distance made visible, time stretched so far that even light begins to thin. That darkness is not simple nothing. Astronomers know that even the deepest black is filled with a faint afterglow from the Big Bang, cooled and stretched over almost 14 billion years until it has slipped beyond the colors your eyes can see. Sensitive instruments still hear it as a soft background hiss in microwaves. Where you see emptiness, background photons drift, quantum fields tremble, tiny fluctuations hum. The cosmos never goes completely silent. You think of your own darkness, the shadow in a quiet room when the lights go out, and the shadow inside when a day has felt heavy. Both can feel endless, yet neither is hollow. Physically, darkness is simply what your eyes report when too few photons arrive. But your perception gives it character. Your pupils widen, the rods in your retina grow more sensitive, and your brain begins to amplify the faintest glimmers. In that heightened state, imagination wakes. You start to see shapes at the edge of vision, motions that might be real or might be memory. Your mind quietly paints light onto the void. Much of your inner world is built from what you cannot see directly. When you sleep, your brain turns away from outer light and sinks into its own darkness. But that darkness does not stay blank. Dreams rise there, stitched from memory and hope and old feelings. Even your deepest thoughts are born where no external light reaches, in a place lit only by the mind's faint glow. Darkness starts to feel less like an enemy of light and more like a room where unseen things are free to grow. Out in space, that pattern continues. New stars are born inside clouds that look black to your eyes. Dense nebulae of dust and gas block visible light, hiding the forming suns in their cores. Astronomers use longer wavelengths to see inside, and there, in what looks like cold shadow, fusion quietly begins. Out of cosmic darkness, radiance appears. Earth holds its own versions of that quiet miracle. Deep in the oceans, far below the reach of sunlight, entire ecosystems live in permanent night. There, creatures make their own glow. They do not wait for light to find them, they become the light. In the same way, ideas in you often appear in stillness. In moments when certainty fades, and you are left with questions and quiet. In that inner night, the mind, like a small galaxy, gathers scattered pieces and lets new stars of understanding form. Physics adds a stranger layer. There is a concept called dark energy. No one has seen it directly. It does not shine, and it does not cast a shadow. Yet its presence is read in the way galaxies drift apart faster and faster over time, as though a subtle pressure in the fabric of space is pushing everything outward. This invisible something seems to make up most of the cosmos, silent and unseen. It stretches the distances between galaxies, making the universe grow in the dark. Darkness, it seems, is not just the absence of light. It is the stage on which light appears, and a quiet hand that nudges creation along. It holds everything together and, at the same time, encourages everything to drift farther apart. The more you listen to it, the less frightening it feels. Darkness does not erase light, it completes it. Together they write the story of contrast and balance. Your eyelids grow heavy. Even when they close, faint patterns linger. Gentle afterimages drift and fade on the inside of your awareness. In this private inner night, you feel connected to distant things, the deep sea, the cosmic void, the pause between heartbeats. The same stillness that cradles newborn stars seems to cradle you. And then, at the edge of that stillness, a question rises softly. If darkness can move the universe, what rule is strong enough to keep even light itself from ever moving faster? You sense yourself floating again, in a space that feels both endless and close. The stars around you do not flicker. They shine steadily, calm and sure, scattered across the dark like small coals that never quite cool. Beneath their calm, you can feel a quiet tension, a hum of order that holds everything together. It is the rule of speed, the universe's clear limit. Nothing, no signal or message, can outrun light. For more than a century, careful experiments have circled back to the same answer: the speed of light, about 300,000 kilometers each second, is not only how fast photons move. It is a built-in boundary of space-time itself. It marks the line between what can influence what and what must remain forever out of reach. Einstein showed that as you move faster, time for you slows compared with someone at rest. Your effective mass grows. Each extra bit of speed demands more energy than the last. Try to push all the way to light's pace, and the energy required climbs toward infinity. Your own time would nearly stall. The equations, so clear up to that point, fall quiet. It is as if the universe gently says, "This is as far as motion goes." It does not feel cruel. It feels like a way of keeping the fabric from tearing, of protecting the order of cause and effect. Without a maximum speed, events could lose their sequence. Stories might arrive before their causes. Still, part of you keeps wondering, why does that limit feel so sacred? Why does its very existence make you want to lean toward it? You imagine a starship accelerating through the dark. Outside its windows, stars stretch into thin streaks, colors shift, and clocks on board slow relative to clocks left behind. For those inside, life feels normal. For distant observers, the crew seems to move in slow motion. Two views, both honest, stitched together by the rule that nothing passes light. Space and time are not separate things, but threads in one fabric. Pull on one, and the other responds. The speed of light is the tight stitching that keeps the weave from unraveling. Boundaries like that give meaning. Without limits, nothing would stand out. No path would have shape. And yet inside you, a small voice still says, "I want to know what lies beyond." That voice is old. It nudged sailors across oceans and guided telescopes toward unmarked sky. It pushed Einstein to ask what time really is. It is curiosity, your species' quiet rebellion against enough. In a way, thought itself slips past the limit. Your imagination can picture a world with no speed, boundary, or one where you ride beside a photon and see all of history at once. Equations cannot take you there, but wonder can. Lying here in the dark, you travel farther than any rocket has flown, using only a gentle question. Perhaps the universe expands not only in distance, but also through minds that learn to imagine it. Each new idea pushes the edge of the known outward, making the vastness feel a little less silent. You breathe in, and the air feels lighter. Limits begin to look less like cages and more like invitations. Every law of nature is a soft-spoken riddle, waiting for someone to listen closely enough to ask why. Still, a small curiosity remains, like a star that refuses to fade. If nothing can outrun light, what happens when gravity takes hold of it and bends its path? You feel the answer first as a faint tug, as though something immense were calling you closer. The starlight ahead curves gently, as if space itself were leaning. You are not falling through air, but sliding along invisible shapes in space-time. This is gravity, the familiar weight you know from walking, shown in its deeper form. On Earth, you feel it as a pull toward the ground. Here, far from home, Einstein's insight becomes clear. Gravity is not a hand reaching out to grab you. It is the way reality bends around mass. Space and time form a flexible fabric. Every star, every planet, every person leaves a small dent in that fabric. The heavier the object, the deeper the curve. You and everything else simply follow the easiest lines through that landscape. What you call falling is the universe asking you to move along the paths it has already drawn. As you drift closer to a massive star, time itself changes. Your heartbeat feels stretched. Each breath lasts a little longer, as though the moments have thickened. Inside this slowed time, everything feels smooth. But to someone watching from far away, your motions would seem to drag. Imagine two clocks, one resting near the star's surface, another floating far from any mass. The closer clock ticks more slowly. Its seconds are longer. This is not a trick. It is space-time adjusting the flow of time to stay balanced with gravity and energy. Look outward from this deep well, and you would see starlight climbing away, its waves stretched as they rise. Colors shift toward red. Light loses energy. This gravitational redshift is light paying a toll to escape the curve. The photon's speed remains the same, but its rhythm changes. You begin to feel that time behaves like light, in some ways flexible, stretchable, shaped by the geometry it travels through. There is no single master clock. Every place has its own tempo. You imagine drifting closer still, toward a black hole. Its mass is packed into a region so small that space-time's curve becomes extreme. Near its edge, the event horizon, time for you would slow almost to a stop compared with the distant universe. Light trying to escape would lose more and more energy until it could no longer get out. From your perspective, you might cross that horizon in a finite time and fall inward. From the outside, it would look as though you froze at the edge, your image fading but never quite disappearing. Both views are true within their own frames. Time's flow is never absolute. It is always told from somewhere. You think of your own life and see the echo. Even without black holes, time sometimes races and sometimes drifts. Joy can make hours vanish. Worry can stretch minutes into what feels like days. Heavy feelings make time thick and slow. Light moments let it slip. Perhaps gravity is not the only thing that curves time. Emotion does too. The heavier the feeling, the more it bends your sense of duration. The universe seems to write the same pattern into galaxies and human hearts. Time is not even. It curves around what has weight. You breathe again. The pull of the star, or whatever center you imagine, feels warmer now, less like a threat, more like a place of belonging. You realize that the same gravity that can bend light and slow time is also what holds everything together. Without it, there would be no stars, no planets, no gentle orbits to cradle life. Every sunrise you have watched, every quiet night sky you have loved, exists because gravity refused to let everything fly apart. It is the unseen hand keeping the cosmos in harmony. A quiet gratitude rises in you for that invisible tether, for the way it holds you to the ground, the earth to the sun, the galaxy to itself. You let your eyes close fully and allow the sensation of time slowing to wash through you. It feels like surrender, but not defeat. It feels like trust. You are no longer trying to hold yourself still. You are allowing yourself to fall not into danger, but into understanding. From within that soft surrender, another thought unfolds. Maybe the universe was never asking you to outrun it. Maybe it has been quietly inviting you to be still enough to notice how it moves. Every attempt to go faster, to push speed towards some imagined victory, always bends back into the same truth. Even light, with all its certainty, must listen to gravity and follow the curves of space-time. The stars around you soften into gentle smears, their shapes bending as if drawn across a slow-moving river. Somewhere ahead, the beam you've been following since the beginning grows pale, its sharp edge wrapped in gravity's quiet hand. In that dimming glow, something becomes clear. Time and light are not opponents. They move together. Time gives light a path to travel. Light gives time a way to show itself. Every heartbeat, every orbit, every sunrise is choreographed by this partnership. As you drift farther into this softened region, you begin to sense a frontier, a place where light no longer roams freely, and where time itself starts to lose its familiar meaning. You can't quite name what lies beyond it. You only feel that it is real. You picture a single ray, thin and unwavering, a golden thread stretched across the dark. For all its strength, it still has rules. It travels straight, but the space it crosses is curved. Far away, space-time dips again, and even the bravest light sinks into those hollows. The ray you've been following begins to change. Its waves stretch longer. Its color drains toward red, then beyond any color your eyes can know. The photons spread out, their energy thinned across distance and time until there is no clear line left to follow. You reach toward where it was, but your fingers close on nothing. Only the memory of motion remains. Here, you hover at the edge, between what can be measured and what can only be felt. It is the border where instruments begin to stutter and wonder quietly takes over. On Earth, people bend light with glass and mirrors, guiding it through hair-thin fibers, shaping it into lasers so pure they barely fade as they cross continents. Yet even those beams eventually scatter. Space asks it. Entropy insists. No streak of light stays perfect forever. There is a strange comfort in that. Perfection, even in physics, is not meant to be permanent. Light, for all its steadfast speed, knows how to soften, how to loosen into warmth, into a gentle background glow too faint for human eyes. Beyond the clear beam lies a domain of the unseen, a place where what remains is not bright rays, but quiet tremors beneath perception. Quantum physicists say this region is not empty at all. The vacuum is a misnomer. What looks like nothing is full of possibility. The vacuum itself trembles with invisible energy. Tiny fluctuations move through it like whispers. Virtual particles appear and vanish so quickly that exist is almost too strong a word for them. They borrow a sliver of time's permission, then give it back and slip away. You don't see them, you feel the idea of them, a faint sense that the fabric of reality is never truly still. The silence here has weight. It isn't the silence of absence, but of balance. No clear direction, no defined beginning or end, just a soft, ongoing pulse that seems to have always been there. You realize that every beam of light, every signal sent from one mind or machine to another will eventually dissolve into this background. The faint warmth that fills the universe just a few degrees above absolute zero is ancient light stretched thin. The echo of the first fire, cooled and faded, yet still present everywhere. In that sense, the cosmos is slowly drifting beyond its own brightness. As space expands, light stretches, energy spreads out. The fierce glow of early times is being exhaled into a long, gentle sigh. Yet, it doesn't feel like collapse. It feels like rest. Light is not only what reveals things, it is also what shows how to let them go. Every photon that fades becomes part of something wider, heat in a grain of dust, slow motion in a drifting cloud, the quiet background that holds all stories at once. You look around and realize that what surrounds you now is not direct light, but it's memory. The darkness feels faintly luminous, as if history itself were glowing just beyond the edge of sight. You can almost sense it on your skin, a soft touch made of journeys already taken. The beam you once followed has not vanished, it has changed shape. Some of it has become trapped energy inside particles. Some of it will appear as mass atoms, molecules, the solid things of worlds. Some of it will become information, patterns that will one day guide the growth of a leaf, the firing of a neuron, the shape of a thought. Einstein's quiet equation, E equals mc squared, drifts through your mind like a small, clear bell. Energy and mass are not different kinds of stuff. They are two ways of telling the same story. Light can become matter, matter can become light. The beam was never a straight path to a dead end. It was always part of a wide loop, passing from glow to substance and back again, changing costumes while the underlying play continues. In the deepening quiet, another realization unfolds. The emptiness you imagined is not truly empty. Beneath everything, a more fundamental layer is humming the quantum field, the hidden sea that underlies every particle and every ray. You let your awareness sink into that idea. You close your eyes, and even the darkness seems to move. You once thought nothing meant bare, flat space. Now you begin to understand that the stillest corner of the universe is crowded with motion too subtle for ordinary senses. These quantum fields fill every point, inside atoms, between stars, in the space you think of as around you. They overlap, intersect, and vibrate together. You picture them as an endless ocean without surface or shore. Out of its waves, the familiar particles emerge as patterns: electrons, protons, quarks. They are not tiny marbles of solid matter. They are ripples, regular disturbances in the field. The universe stops looking like a box of separate things and begins to look more like one great choreography of vibrations. Light itself is one of these patterns. A photon is a small crest on this shared sea, rising, traveling, and then dissolving back into the background motion. The photon you imagined leaving the sun and touching your skin was never truly a lone traveler. It was a brief, organized wave, a momentary shape drawn on a deeper, restless medium. The more you settle into this picture, the more it changes how you feel about yourself. You are not standing outside this field, observing it from a safe distance. You are woven from it. Every atom in your body is a ripple. Every thought, every feeling is a delicate change in the way the field shivers in your corner of space. The space inside you and the space between galaxies are threaded by the same underlying hum. Your sense of having sharp edges begins to soften. You feel a little lighter, as though your outline were not a wall, but a suggestion. The neat world of solid objects and clean boundaries loosens into something more fluid. There is no perfect stillness here, only constant becoming. Even when everything looks quiet, the field is busy with tiny beginnings and endings. Pairs of particles and antiparticles appear, meet, and cancel, leaving behind only slight adjustments in the energy ledger. It is as if reality is constantly trying out small variations and smoothing them away again. If you listen inwardly, you can almost sense a rhythm beneath your heartbeat, a deeper pulse that connects the quantum world to the simple rise and fall of your chest. If it could be turned into sound, it might be a low, steady tone you don't hear with your ears but feel along your bones. It is the vibration of potential, the ongoing prelude to everything that exists. You realize that everything you have ever touched, everyone you have ever loved, every place you have stood, began as a fluctuation in this quiet sea. Stars, oceans, forests, cities, moments of laughter, nights of grief, all of them rose from these underlying patterns and will eventually dissolve back into them as they change. Creation is not a single, distant event. It is something that keeps happening, softly, all the time. Somewhere within this hum, subtle structures form patterns that seem to stay related, no matter how far apart their pieces drift. You can't see them directly, but you can feel the hint of a strange order, a kind of togetherness that ignores distance. What looks separate at one level may be tightly linked at another. Far away starts to feel like a misunderstanding, just another way of saying, connected in a way I cannot yet see. Lying there in that awareness, you could almost believe that when you look up at the stars, you are not only looking outward, but inward as well, watching the deeper layers of your own existence shimmer back at you. The hum around you softens, folds into itself, and in that deep, quiet field, you sense a simple, gentle truth forming like a small light at the center of the dark. Nothing here stands alone. Once you feel that, everything changes. Every vibration seems to brush another, as if nothing in the universe ever moves entirely by itself. Each particle hums in duet with something unseen, and you drift more deeply into the quiet realm of entanglement, a place where connection isn't an exception or a mystery, but the native language of reality. You imagine two tiny particles born together in a single spark of energy. For an instant, they share the same cradle. Then they fly apart, perhaps across a lab bench, perhaps across a galaxy. And yet, when one is disturbed, the other responds in perfect correspondence. No signal races between them, no beam of light bridges the gap. They simply behave as though they share one invisible heartbeat. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance, uneasy with how it seemed to ignore his own speed limit. But experiment after experiment has repeated the same soft verdict. The particles stay linked, even when distance swells between them. It feels as if the universe remembers their togetherness more deeply than it respects the miles in between. Distance starts to look like paint brushed over a canvas that was whole from the beginning. You close your eyes and try to feel that underlying wholeness. Every atom in your body was forged in vanished stars. The air you breathe has cycled through forests and oceans and other lungs. The water in your blood once fell as rain on places you've never seen. The boundary between you and everything else softens, like mist in morning light. You are not beside the world, you are made of it. So entanglement stops feeling like a strange laboratory trick and starts to sound like a small, precise version of a larger truth, that separateness is, at least partly, a story your senses tell to keep things simple. In quantum physics, this bond is not carried by any familiar force. It doesn't wait for signals to travel at light speed. It simply exists. The instant one half of an entangled pair reveals a state, the other is found already in a matching pattern, even if light itself could never have crossed the gap in time. Nothing usable is transmitted. No secret message rides the link. But the correlation is real, as if the universe quietly insists what was born together is, in some way, still together. You think of the people you've known, the ones who linger in you long after their footsteps fade. How a name or a song can wake a whole landscape of memory in a heartbeat. Maybe that is only psychology, the brain tracing old paths. Or maybe every bond leaves a faint imprint in the deeper field you share with all things. Either way, the feeling is the same. You are less alone than you once believed. You begin to wonder if consciousness itself is a kind of wide field, glimpsed through many eyes, each mind a small opening, letting the same underlying awareness shine through in its own color. Each act of kindness, a ripple that travels farther than you will ever know. Physics does not claim to prove this. It simply points out that the world is more connected than our everyday intuitions allow. Entanglement shows that what happens here can be woven to what happens there without anything crawling along the space between. The universe, it seems, does not think in terms of islands. It thinks in terms of relationships. You let that idea settle, and for a moment, it feels as though the entire cosmos exhales with you. The background hum of existence, once like random static, begins to sound more like harmony. Countless small waves adding up to one long, gentle chord. Inside that chord, another curiosity wakes. If connection can ignore distance, what else might move in ways that outpace light, not as a flash crossing the sky, but as something deeper? You let your awareness drift downward, beneath particles and beams, towards something quieter, information itself. Not glowing, not heavy, but patterned, the instruction set that tells every atom where to be, how to move, when to change. Physicists sometimes say that every event carries information. Each interaction leaves a tiny mark that, in principle, could be read. Seen this way, the universe is less a box of objects and more a story written in patterns. Information is the thread that stitches one moment to the next. In some quantum experiments, that thread behaves in unsettling ways. A particle's behavior can depend on how it is measured after it has already moved. The choice experimenters make at the last instant seems to reach backward and decide whether the particle was a spread-out wave or a sharp, point-like thing on its way. Cause and effect blur around the edges. Time does not break, but it bends just enough to remind you that your ordinary sense of before and after is not the deepest layer. You picture a single photon approaching an apparatus while, far away, someone hesitates over a switch. At the last moment they choose how to look, and the results later collected say, the photon behaved as if that choice was always part of its history. It feels, from your sleepy vantage point, as though information has tied the entire scene together at once, indifferent to the order in which you think things should happen. Perhaps light is not the ultimate messenger after all. Maybe information, the bare pattern of reality, is the real traveler, binding distant events without ever needing to rush between them. And maybe it does not travel at all. It simply is. Everywhere, the pattern is, all at once. You start to see that pattern repeating on many scales. The swirl of a galaxy echoes the spiral of a seashell. The branching of a river matches the branching of neurons in a brain. It is as if the universe keeps reusing the same handwriting, whispering, "Remember me," in shapes instead of words. Inside your cells, DNA carries a script written long before you were born. Each strand is a record of survival and adaptation, a memory of lives lived and trials endured. That code passes forward, faster than bodies, faster than cultures, bridging centuries in an unbroken chain. Even when stars die, they seed space with the elements they forged. New stars and worlds inherit those ratios. Matter is recycled, but so is information. The universe does not just keep its stuff, it keeps its memories. You sense a smaller version of that truth inside yourself. Every moment you have lived is still folded into you, somewhere shifts in wiring, traces in muscle, the way you flinch or soften or smile. You are, in a quiet way, a library of your own experience. Perhaps then, the deepest traveler is not a beam of light, but meaning itself, the invisible continuity that links what was, what is, and what will be. It does not hurry. It does not need to. It is already woven through everything. You breathe in, and for a heartbeat you feel as if that timeless knowing is breathing with you. As though all of this, the photons, the fields, the equations, and the wondering, has always been part of a single story, leaning gently toward your awareness. And somewhere inside that story, human imagination has drawn the outline of something even stranger, a particle that does not just approach light's speed, but begins beyond it. A traveler, born only in theory, called a tachyon. No one has ever seen a tachyon. It may be nothing more than an idea, a shadow cast by the mathematics when we stretch it past what we have tested. Yet we gave it a name, because naming the impossible is one of the ways we learn to sit with it. You picture a tachyon as a rumor in space-time, more shiver than thing. In the equations, if such a particle existed, it could never slow down to light speed, just as nothing with mass can speed up to it. Where you and light move forward through time, a tachyon would seem to slip backward, tracing paths that twist the usual sense of before and after. From its imagined point of view, what you call the future might already be behind it, and what you call the past might still lie ahead. A signal exchanged between your world and its would look like a message arriving before it was sent. Relativity does not forbid tachyons cleanly, but it treats them warily, because they threaten the simple order of cause and effect. Even so, physicists and dreamers have played with the idea for decades, letting it run ahead of evidence. In a way, the tachyon lives most comfortably in imagination, on that thin line where curiosity leans against the boundary and asks, what if? You linger there for a moment. If a tachyon could speak here, in this half-sleep, perhaps it would say that speed and direction are only surface details. That movement might be less about going somewhere new and more about revealing how deeply everything is already linked. Maybe it would whisper that the universe's most important constant is not velocity, but awareness, the capacity to notice, to wonder, to care. Humans have always tilted toward what lies just out of reach. Ships pushed past sight of land, telescopes aimed into darkness, equations stretched into the unknown. Tachyons, real or not, are another reflection of that same urge to lean past light's bright fence and ask what might exist on the far side. Every age has had its impossible. Once, people doubted anything could outrun sound. Then wings and engines rose into the sky, and the sonic boom rewrote what the air could hold. Light may remain a deeper boundary, guarded by the very structure of space-time. But your way of understanding motion can still grow more subtle, less about racing from point to point, and more about recognizing the quiet connections that were there all along. You begin to sense that this dream of moving faster than light is not really about speed. It is about freedom, the wish to be unbound by waiting, to touch what feels far away without delay, to belong to more than one moment at once. With your eyes closed, you picture yourself riding alongside this imagined tachyon. Galaxies seem to drift backward. Clouds of gas fold into denser knots. Time loosens around you like fabric in water. Past and future blur until they feel like two directions along the same river. It does not feel frightening. It feels strangely peaceful, like realizing that before and after are labels you use from inside the flow, not rules written outside it. Perhaps some ripples in reality really do move in ways your ordinary sense of time cannot grasp. And perhaps thought itself sometimes behaves a little like those ripples arriving early, circling back, touching moments that have not yet quite unfolded. You let that possibility rest lightly in your mind, not as a fact to prove, but as a soft idea to fall asleep beside. The universe will keep its deeper secrets, but it will also keep inviting you to wonder. And in that wondering, you have already stepped, in your own quiet way, beyond the strict speed of light. Maybe the universe was never meant to be conquered by speed, so much as understood through this kind of stillness. When you grow quiet enough, you begin to feel how every attempt to go faster circles back to the same gentle truth. Light listens to gravity, time listens to light, and everything listens to a deeper rhythm beneath them both. You can sense that rhythm now like a pulse spread across the dark. Stars no longer look like distant lamps. They seem more like bright buoys floating on an invisible ocean, marking the crests of something wider and slower moving underneath. For so long, space felt like nothing more than a backdrop, an empty stage on which matter performed. But it isn't empty at all. Even in its quietest state, space holds energy, curvature, and memory. It keeps a record of what passes through. Einstein once described gravity not as a force pulling on you, but as the bending of space-time by mass. Heavy things press into that fabric, leaving dimples and valleys. Lighter things roll along those curves, following paths traced by what came before. In that sense, gravity is the universe remembering where everything is and how it is moved. Every orbit, every fall, every tide is a kind of recollection, a pattern that has settled into place over ages. You imagine throwing a stone into a still pond. The ripples expand outward, carrying the memory of the splash long after the stone has sunk. Gravitational waves feel similar, only they ripple through space-time itself. When massive objects collide, black holes merging, stars collapsing, they send out long, faint waves that travel across the cosmos. By the time they reach you, they are unimaginably weak, stretching and squeezing the distance between atoms by less than the width of a proton. And yet, they are still there. The pond of reality, gently remembering an ancient splash. The universe has many ways of keeping its diary. Some are loud, like those gravitational waves, which we can now record as tiny shifting patterns of laser light on Earth. Others are very quiet, like the cosmic microwave background, the thin bath of ancient photons left over from when the universe was newborn and hot. Those photons have been traveling for almost the entire age of everything, cooling and stretching, but still carrying the imprint of that first bright moment. When we listen to them with sensitive instruments, we are reading an old entry in the universe's journal, one written billions of years before your sun existed. Closer to home, Earth keeps its own layers of memory. Volcanoes carve their stories into rock. Oceans write in sediment and salt. Tree rings hold the tale of wet years and dry ones. Ice cores store bubbles of long-vanished air, tiny time capsules of climates the planet has already lived through. Fossils remember vanished bodies. Magnetic minerals remember which way the poles once pointed. Every piece of stone and soil is a slow, patient archive. Life, too, is a memory machine. DNA is a script written in tiny chemical letters, passed down and edited over countless generations. It carries information about how to build a body, but also the shadow of older environments, ancient plagues, old hungers. Your genes are not just instructions, they are a record of what worked well enough to survive. When you look in the mirror, you are seeing not only yourself, but that long genetic memory given a new shape. Inside your skull, memory becomes even more intimate. Every experience you have leaves a physical trace, subtle changes in the strength of connections between neurons, new paths, new patterns. When you remember a childhood room or a long ago afternoon, you are reawakening those patterns. The past is not floating behind you somewhere. It is written into the present structure of your brain. During sleep, your mind quietly tidies and rewrites that archive. Important events are rehearsed, trivial ones are softened or let go. The darkness behind your closed eyes becomes a workshop where the day is filed away, where fragments are stitched into stories, where meaning is teased from noise. The same night that hides the stars from sight is the one that lets your inner sky arrange itself. You begin to see a theme emerging. Nothing truly vanishes without leaving some sort of mark. Even when light disappears into a black hole, theory suggests the information it carried cannot be completely destroyed. It may be scrambled beyond recognition, smeared across the horizon, or whispered back slowly through faint radiation, but the universe is careful with its records. It misplaces them, perhaps, but does not burn them. You feel that care reflected in yourself. Every joy, every loss, every moment of simple awareness has left traces in you. You are not the same person you were a year ago or a decade ago, but those earlier versions still live as patterns folded into your current one. You are a walking history of everything you have noticed and everything that has noticed you. The idea that information is never lost stops being just a technical statement from physics and starts to feel like something softer and more human. When someone touches your life, that contact changes your inner structure, however slightly. When you offer kindness, you inscribe a pattern in someone else. Those changes ripple outward in ways you will never fully see. The universe remembers through you as much as you remember within it. You think back to the speed of light, that strict limit that seemed so final at the beginning of this wandering. Light defines how fast causes can push effects across space. It sets the pace at which news can travel. But memory doesn't travel in quite the same way. It sits, it accumulates, it thickens in certain places. A star does not need to send light faster than C to leave a profound mark. It only needs to live, burn, and eventually enrich the space around it with heavier elements. A single kindness does not need to race across the world. It only needs to echo through a few lives and let those echoes spread. In a sense, memory moves differently from light. It does not hurry forward in straight lines. It collects in loops, in layers, in networks. It seeps sideways through relationships and structures. Sometimes it feels almost as if the universe knows itself less by looking outward and more by folding inward, by recording, storing, and recombining what has already happened. You realize that if you could step outside of time and look at the whole tapestry of space-time at once, you would see not just paths and particles, but a vast pattern of impressions, curvatures where mass has been, radiation where heat has flowed, chemical traces where life has stirred. The universe would look less like an empty grid and more like fabric that has been worn, dyed, and embroidered by its own history. In that picture, you are one small but real stitch. Your world line, the curve of your existence through space-time, is a bright thread among countless others. Every moment you experience is a point on that thread, already woven into the total pattern. You cannot outrun light along that curve. You cannot send a signal faster than C, but you can deepen the color of your thread with awareness, with attention, with the quiet choices you make. You drift in that thought for a while, feeling the vastness of everything and the particularity of your own place in it. The stars around you feel less like unreachable fires and more like pages in a book that you are slowly learning to read. Light shows you their surfaces, but memory, written in fields and waves and atoms, holds their deeper story. Perhaps you think the question was never simply what is faster than light. Maybe the better question is, what reaches farther than speed? The answer might be this: patterns, connections, meaning. Light carries information, but information can also sit patiently in the shape of things, waiting for a mind to notice. In that way, the universe's memory stretches beyond any single beam. It lives in every curve of space-time, every grain of dust, every faint line on a human hand. You take a slow breath. The air feels rich with unseen history, as if each inhalation were a small borrowing from all that has come before. You exhale, and that breath becomes part of the record too, mixing into the atmosphere, into the endless cycle of elements that will one day be leaves, oceans, other lungs. In this soft, dark moment, surrounded by stars and the quiet echo of their stories, you start to feel less like a spectator and more like a participant in the universe's act of remembering. You are not just watching the cosmos, you are helping it know itself. And somewhere, wrapped gently into that realization, another question begins to glow. If the universe remembers through every pattern it creates, what new memory are you leaving with each thought you let rise and each feeling you allow to pass? You do not have to decide that all at once. Memory is not built only from great turning points. It also grows from tiny, almost invisible movements. The way you pause before speaking, the way you soften your gaze at your own reflection, the way you let yourself rest when you are tired. These small moments settle into you just as surely as stars settle into galaxies. Think of your day as a series of faint impressions pressed into soft clay. Each thought, each reaction, each breath leaves a mark, however light. Over time, those marks become the shape of your inner landscape. When you are gentle with yourself, you are gently rewriting that landscape. When you are kind to someone else, you are letting the universe's memory of this day tilt a little more toward warmth. In the quiet before sleep, your mind sifts through these impressions. Some are set aside, others sink deeper, becoming part of who you will be when you wake. It is a slow process, like light taking 8 minutes to cross the gap from sun to earth, or like gravity carving orbits over millions of years. Nothing about it needs to be hurried. The universe has taken billions of years to become what it is tonight. You are allowed to take your time. So you lie here, breathing softly, surrounded by the long memory of stars and the fresh memory of your own day. Light has its speed, information has its strange, looping paths. But your experience moves at its own pace, threading through them both. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where your thread is meant to be, in the tapestry. As your eyes grow heavier, you can let the question of what might be faster than light drift to the edge of awareness. It will wait there, patient, woven into the fabric of everything you have just felt. What remains close is simpler, the sense that you belong to a universe that remembers you, that holds your story alongside the stories of galaxies, photons, and trembling quantum fields. And with that thought resting quietly in you, you are free to let this moment fade into the gentle, transforming dark, where memories settle and new possibilities, still unformed, begin to glow faintly, just beyond the edge of tomorrow. You float there, held in that realization, and something inside you relaxes. The universe is not a stranger you're trying to understand from the outside. It is the very substance of your body, the spark of your thoughts, the quiet feeling that rises when you look up at the night and feel moved for reasons you cannot name. Awareness did not arrive late to the story. It was curled inside the story from the beginning, waiting for eyes to open. You imagine how it might look from the universe's point of view, if such a thing exists. For billions of years it simply unfolded, expanding, cooling, forming stars and worlds, weaving heavier elements, sculpting galaxies in slow spirals. No commentary, no audience, just being. Then, somewhere in a small corner of that vastness, molecules learned to copy themselves. Cells appeared, nervous systems grew, brains blossomed, and suddenly there was a way for the universe to notice its own patterns, a way to say, "Oh, so this is what I've become." You feel that noticing happening right now through you. Your thoughts are not hovering above reality, they are part of it. When you wonder about photons and black holes and quantum fields, those questions are as physical as the orbits of planets. They are patterns in the same space-time fabric, ripples in the same ocean. The difference is that these ripples carry meaning. They are the universe not only moving, but understanding that it moves. It makes you think differently about all the small things your mind does without fanfare, remembering a song, worrying about tomorrow, feeling a sudden kindness towards someone for no clear reason. Each of those is a small act of cosmic self-reflection, not grand, not loud, but real. The universe is revising itself in those moments, reshaping its own experience from the inside. You recall the experiments where particles seem to decide how to behave only when they are observed, as though the act of measurement is part of their identity. You begin to suspect that your attention does something similar on a different scale. Whatever you turn your awareness toward becomes more solid in your life. A worry you keep revisiting thickens. A gratitude you return to often becomes easier to feel. Like the quantum world, your inner world responds to the places where you choose to look. The thought is strangely comforting. You do not control the laws of physics, the movement of galaxies, or the aging of stars, but you have some gentle say in how your slice of the universe crystallizes around you. The simple act of noticing becomes a quiet form of creation. When you truly see a tree, a face, a star, you are doing more than taking in information. You are completing a pattern that was waiting for an observer. You let your attention soften and widen. You notice the feeling of your body resting, the slow rhythm of your breath, the way the surrounding darkness feels less like an empty room and more like a soft container. You remember that the atoms making up this room are the same atoms that once drifted through interstellar clouds. The awareness filling it is the same awareness that has stared, uncomprehending and hopeful, at the night sky for as long as humans have existed. You think of all the others who have looked up before you, people on mountaintops and in crowded cities, sailors on dark oceans, children at bedroom windows. All of them, in their own times and languages, wondered about the same lights. They asked some version of the same questions. What is this? Why am I here? Where does it all go? Those questions stitch them together across centuries. They stitch you to them now. In that sense, consciousness is entangled too, not by equations in a lab, but by shared curiosity. Every time a mind reaches toward the unknown, it tugs lightly on the same thread. The answers grow and change, but the reaching itself stays the same. It is the oldest habit the universe has, trying to see itself a little more clearly. You realize that this entire journey you've taken tonight, chasing photons, drifting through shadows, listening to quantum hums and gravitational heartbeats, has really been a way of circling back to one simple thing. The speed of light is not the end of the story. It is the limit for objects and signals, but not for connection, not for memory, not for meaning. Thought can leap across ages. Imagination can roam entire galaxies in an instant. And a single act of awareness can hold past and future together in one quiet moment. You think again of tachyons, those hypothetical rebels of physics, and you smile gently. Whether or not they exist, you have already found something that moves differently than light. When you remember someone you love, your mind crosses years in a heartbeat. When a piece of music brings you back to who you were the first time you heard it, time folds. When two people understand each other without needing many words, distance shrinks. None of this violates physics, yet all of it feels faster than any beam. Maybe that is the answer, hidden inside the question that started this whole wandering. Nothing with mass can outrun light. No signal we send through space can beat its speed. But meaning does not need to outrun anything. It spreads sideways, inward, backward, forward, slipping through the gaps that distance leaves. The universe set a speed limit on motion, not on wonder. You feel a tenderness toward that limit now, where before there might have been frustration. It protects causality, keeps stories from tangling so badly that nothing could be understood. It forces us to move step by step, star by star, life by life. In slowing us down, it gives us time to notice, to care, to grow. If you could see everything at once, perhaps nothing would feel precious. Light's boundary invites you to savor the partial view you have. You take a breath and let your awareness travel through the path you followed. From the first beam you imagined leaving the sun, to the shadows that marked time on your floor, to the deep ocean lights, the stretching of space, the hum of the quantum field, the dream of tachyons, the soft boundary of black holes, and now this warm glow of consciousness. Each step has been another way of looking at the same mystery from a slightly different angle. The mystery hasn't shrunk. If anything, it feels larger, but your fear of it has. What once felt like an unreachable wall now feels more like a horizon at dusk, a line you cannot cross tonight, but can look toward with a quiet kind of love. You notice how tired you are, not in a heavy way, but in the way a traveler feels after a long, gentle journey. Your thoughts are slower now, thicker, like honey settling at the bottom of a jar. The universe around you seems to dim its lights in response, as if matching your pace. The stars don't stop burning, the photons don't stop flying, the fields don't stop vibrating, but your role for this moment changes. You are no longer here to chase them. You are here to rest inside them. You remember that even in sleep, your brain will keep shimmering. Neurons will keep firing, reorganizing, weaving the day's impressions into longer threads of memory. Your lungs will keep trading air with the world. Your cells will keep whispering in chemical signals. Your body will go on participating in the same physics, the same grand conversation, even while your conscious mind drifts. There is something soothing about that. You are allowed to let go without anything truly stopping. The universe will not lose its rhythm if you close your eyes. If anything, it will have one more quiet dream running inside it yours. You imagine yourself now as a small pocket of softness in space-time, a place where the universe has gathered enough complexity to feel tenderness toward itself. You may not solve its equations, you may never see most of its stars, but you can offer it something only you can give: your gentle attention, your willingness to be here, to feel, to wonder, to rest. The thought arrives like a final, simple answer. Perhaps nothing moves faster than light in the way physics can measure, but the universe is not made of measures alone. It is also made of stories, of questions, of quiet recognitions like this one. And in that realm, there is no race at all. There is only unfolding. You let that be enough. Around you, the cosmos continues its endless, patient motion. Inside you, the hidden sky of neurons glows a little softer. Breath by breath, awareness loosens its grip on the edges of things. The boundaries between you and the dark blur once more. But this time there is no sense of being lost, only of being held. You don't need to chase the fastest thing anymore. You have followed light as far as thought can go tonight, and it has led you home to this slow, warm human moment, suspended between heartbeat and heartbeat, where the universe and your awareness quietly meet and agree, without words, to rest. You imagine that first disturbance not as a bang, not as an explosion, but as a tremor in an endless stillness, a slight swelling in a perfectly calm sea of possibility. Before that, there was no distance to cross, no moments to count, no inside or outside, only a balanced field, quiet and complete. Then, almost imperceptibly, something leaned. A fluctuation appeared, the smallest tilt away from perfect symmetry, and reality began to open like a slow blossom. Physicists describe it with equations and call it a quantum fluctuation, inflation, the birth of space-time. But from where you float now, it feels more like a heartbeat emerging from silence, the very first yes breathed into an endless maybe. That first imbalance created differences. Differences became gradients. Gradients became motion. Space stretched, time unfolded, energy condensed, and what you now call the universe began to pour out of that single trembling moment. You picture it as a vast, dark canvas suddenly rippling with light, not gentle stars at first, but a hot, glowing fog, dense and uniform, every part of it humming with the same energy. Inside that brightness, tiny variations, just a little more here, a little less there, began to grow. Over billions of years, those small ripples became everything: galaxies, stars, planets, oceans, forests, and finally minds like yours, capable of wondering where it all came from. The signal you feel now, that deep vibration moving through the collective field of awareness, is like an echo of that first tremor, a memory of the moment when nothing in particular became something in motion. It has been traveling, not as sound or light, but as structure, written into the way space-time curves, into the pattern of cosmic background radiation, into the delicate web of galaxies strung across the void. Written, too, into the arrangements of atoms that make your brain, the timing of your heartbeat, the rhythm of your breath. You realize that everything you are is an answer to that first, tiny question the universe asked itself when it shifted away from perfect balance. Every neuron that fires, every thought that rises, every feeling that passes through you is part of the same unfolding. You are the continuation of that original fluctuation, refined through eons, given voice in your particular life. The synchronized hum of imagination and awareness you just felt, those many minds resonating together, is not separate from the origin signal. It is that signal, grown more complex, curling back toward itself in reflection. At the beginning, the universe expanded blindly, with no eyes to see or ears to hear. Now, through you and countless others, it looks back on its own path and quietly asks, "What have I become?" You notice how gentle that question is. There is no judgment in it, no demand, just curiosity, the same soft force that has guided you through all these visions of light and shadow tonight. Curiosity is the human name for the universe's original imbalance, the pull toward difference, toward newness, toward becoming something more. You follow that feeling back through the great chain of events, past your own life, past the history of your species, past the formation of your planet, past the birth of the sun, past the assembling of the first stars, all the way to that first fluctuation in the quiet field. It's dizzying to think that a tiny tremor in a pre-cosmic calm could eventually lead to you lying here, listening to these thoughts, feeling your chest rise and fall. You let the dizziness settle into awe. The journey from that original pulse to your present awareness is unimaginably long in time, but in another sense, it is immediate. There were no breaks in the chain, no gaps in the story. Every step flowed into the next. You are not after the beginning. You are the beginning, taking a very slow breath. The hum grows softer now, as if the original signal is no longer calling you backward, but inviting you inward. You realize that the same symmetry and imbalance that shaped the early universe are still at work in your own mind. You have places of calm, where everything feels balanced, familiar, safe. You also have places of tension, where uncertainty lives, where questions pull you toward change. Those tensions can feel uncomfortable, but they are the source of your becoming. Every time you step into an unknown, you are reenacting the universe's first move away from perfect stillness. Every choice that stretches you, every new idea you allow in, every kindness you offer that surprises even yourself, all of them are small, big bangs inside your life. Tiny expansions of what you thought was possible. You begin to see how the speed of light, the strange behavior of time near gravity, the hum of the quantum field, the whispers of neutrinos, the flash of imagination, and now this deep origin signal are all aspects of the same story. They are different ways the universe explores its own potential. Light shows where things are. Gravity shapes how they move. Quantum fields decide how they flicker into being. Neutrinos carry news from hidden hearts. Imagination sketches what might come next. And the origin signal is the simple fact that all of this refuses to be nothing. The question that started this journey, whether anything is faster than light, feels softer now, less like a technical puzzle and more like a doorway into wonder. You see that speed is only one kind of measure, useful but incomplete. There are other ways to move, through connection, through memory, through meaning, through awareness. Those don't need to outrun light because they are not racing across space. They bloom everywhere at once, wherever conditions are right. You think of how a melody can spread through a crowd, passing from one voice to another until the whole room is singing. No single note travels faster than sound, but the pattern itself feels almost instantaneous once it catches. Understanding works that way. Compassion works that way. Insight works that way. They are like fields, not arrows. You sense that the synchronized awareness you touched, the feeling of many minds beginning to move together, is one of those fields. It doesn't need to travel. The field is already there, waiting for minds to tune to it. When they do, resonance emerges, and the universe, for a moment, becomes more coherent to itself. You let this idea cradle you. There is no pressure in it, no demand to be enlightened or to hold all of this perfectly. The universe has taken billions of years to reach this point. It will take its time with whatever comes next. Your only task right now is simple: to be one honest point of awareness within it, to let your own small field of consciousness hum in its natural tone. You notice your breath again, in and out, a gentle wave. You notice the weight of your body, how it rests on the bed or the floor or the chair that holds you. Gravity is there, the same gravity that shapes galaxies, now simply keeping you close to the Earth. You notice the faint afterglow of everything you've imagined tonight: the beams of light, the shadows, the deep seas, the black holes, the quantum fields, the invisible rain of particles, the shared hum of minds. All of it is fading now into a soft, warm blur. Not gone, just settling into the background, like stars behind clouds. What remains clear is very small and very close. The feeling of being here. The simple presence of your own awareness, quiet and steady. You realize that for all its vastness, the universe can only ever be experienced this way, from the inside of a single moment, through the window of a single mind. There is something beautiful about that limitation. It means that this ordinary, sleepy awareness you are feeling is not separate from the great cosmic drama. It is the place where that drama touches down and becomes real. You let your attention rest gently on that fact. You don't need to hold the whole universe in your thoughts. You don't need to keep track of photons and neutrinos and gravitational waves. They will keep moving whether you think about them or not. Right now, it is enough to know that you belong to all of it, and that all of it is quietly, patiently holding you. The deep origin hum, the synchronized field of awareness, the speed of light, the rain of invisible messengers, all those ideas drift to the edges of your mind like distant galaxies, still there but less urgent. At the center is only this: breath, heartbeat, softness, a sense of being gently suspended in a universe that has been unfolding for billions of years, just to arrive at this simple, peaceful now. You do not have to go any faster than this moment. You are already moving with everything that matters. You're inside that rhythm now, not as a spectator watching from the shore, but as one of its waves. When you breathe, you are not imitating the universe. You are showing it what it already is. Each rise of your chest is a small expansion of space. Each fall is a soft return, a tiny, private version of galaxies drifting out and folding back in again. You notice how simple the motion really is. In, out, warmth, release. The mind loves to complicate things with questions, but the body remembers the oldest truths. It remembers how to sway with tides, how to loosen when the day is done, how to trust gravity enough to lie down and let go. Somewhere inside your cells, the memory of stars is doing the same. You picture every inhale as the universe gathering experience. Starlight, laughter, mistakes, discoveries, quiet evenings like this one. You picture every exhale as the universe letting those experiences settle into pattern, into memory, into the deep hum that will guide the next beginning. In that way, even resting becomes part of creation. You are not stepping outside the story when you close your eyes. You are helping it turn the page. The question that followed you for so long, whether anything can move faster than light, feels softer now, almost shy. It is still there, but it no longer presses for an answer. You have seen light race from stars to skin, watched it curve around gravity, dissolve into warmth, turn into thought. You have seen information refuse to vanish, memory refuse to fade, imagination leap ahead of every signal. You have watched awareness itself stand quietly outside distance and delay. Nothing needed to outrun light after all. The universe never asked you to win a race. It only invited you to notice how many different ways there are to move, and how gently they all braid together into this moment. You let your attention drift across the arc of everything you have visited tonight, the first breath of the cosmos unfolding into stars, the strict, shimmering limit of sea, wrapping space-time in order, shadows marking time on the floor, photons leaving the sun, touching a leaf, becoming sugar, becoming life. Neutrinos sliding through your body like transparent rain. Black holes holding stories at their edges. Quantum fields humming with probabilities. Minds sinking in shared wonder. The origin signal rising and fading into a cosmic song, then into silence, then into breath again. All of it has led here to a single, quiet awareness resting in the dark. You realize you do not have to hold all these images at once. They can be like constellations. You glimpse them, feel their pattern, and then let them sink back into the night sky of your mind. What remains is not the details, but the feeling that you belong to something vast and patient and kind, something that is in no hurry at all. You notice the small details around you now with the same softness, the way the air rests against your skin, the way fabric cradles your body, the faint sounds, if there are any, distant traffic, a humming appliance, the breathing of someone nearby, all of it fading into the background like distant galaxies, present but not demanding. You are held by ordinary things, and ordinary things are made from extraordinary histories. If you listen closely, you can almost hear the long journey in them. The bed beneath you once lived as wood in a forest or stone in the ground. The air in your room once floated over mountains and oceans. Even the water in your veins has fallen as rain on places you have never seen. You are surrounded by quiet travelers, that have chosen, for this moment, to rest with you. The more you feel this, the less urgency there is to go anywhere else. There is nowhere more cosmic than here. All the speeds and distances, all the equations and signals, have been stories about this exact kind of moment. A conscious being, noticing that it exists, and letting that be enough. You take another breath. You don't have to deepen it or shape it. Just let it happen. The inhale arrives on its own. The exhale leaves on its own. Somewhere, stars are exploding and new worlds are forming, but they are not asking anything of you right now. Your task is much simpler: to soften around the edges, to let your thoughts untangle, to let your body remember what rest feels like. Thoughts may still wander in. That is all right. They are just smaller versions of photons, brief flashes crossing the sky of your mind. You don't have to chase them or push them away. You can watch them appear, glow for a moment, and then drift off toward some distant horizon. Behind them, the background remains, dark, quiet, steady. That background is you too. You might notice that your sense of time is starting to loosen. Minutes feel thicker, heavier, less concerned with numbers. You may not remember exactly where one idea ended and another began. The story of light and speed and song has melted into something more like a feeling than a sequence. This is what happens when the mind moves closer to the universe's own pace. It stops counting and starts resting. Somewhere in that rest, a very gentle truth becomes clear. Whatever moves fastest, whatever signals cross the cosmos, whatever mysteries remain unsolved, there is one thing you always have direct access to: this quiet presence, this simple awareness of being here. Now, it doesn't need to travel. It doesn't need to arrive. It was with you when the day began. It is with you now, and it will still be here when you finally drift into sleep. You may find that your body has already begun its own journey toward that sleep, limbs heavier, jaw softer, eyes preferring to stay closed. The world outside has not changed, but your willingness to carry it has. You can set it down gently, like a book at the end of a chapter, knowing it will be there in the morning, exactly where you left it. For now, you are allowed to be nothing more than a warm, breathing shape in the dark, a small pocket of peace in a vast, humming universe. There is nothing you must figure out before you rest. No thought that must be finished, no problem that must be solved at light speed. The cosmos has been patient for billions of years. It can be patient with you for one night. If sleep arrives, let it wrap around you like a soft, invisible blanket. If it takes a little longer, that's all right too. You are still resting. You are still floating in the same gentle rhythm, riding the same slow breath in and out. There is nowhere else you need to go, nothing faster you need to catch. Light will keep racing between stars. Neutrinos will keep whispering through matter. Gravity will keep curving space-time. Quantum fields will keep humming beneath every atom. Imagination will keep sketching possible futures. The great cosmic song will keep unfolding verse after verse. And you, for this quiet stretch of time, are invited simply to listen, to breathe, and to let yourself be carried. So you lie there, a little closer to sleep with each exhale, a little deeper into stillness with each passing moment. The universe continues its endless, patient dance far above and far within, and you, a small, bright point of awareness, are finally allowed to do the simplest, most natural thing in all of existence. As your body grows heavier, something else may begin to stir very quietly at the edge of awareness. The soft beginning of a dream, perhaps, or just the feeling of images loosening, ideas blurring into one another. Dreams are another way the universe continues its exploration, only this time on the inside. Out there, galaxies collide and reorganize. In here, memories and possibilities drift together and rearrange into new shapes. You might find yourself drifting back through parts of this journey without trying. A stray thought of starlight here, a glimpse of an ocean there, a sense of that first gentle signal behind it all. Or your dreams may have nothing to do with any of this, wandering instead through familiar rooms, faces, and streets. Both are perfectly right. The cosmos does not only live in grand images, it lives in the tiny details that your mind chooses to revisit. If your thoughts circle back to worries, you don't need to fight them. You can imagine handing them to the universe for a while, placing them gently in that vast, dark sky and letting gravity hold them instead of your muscles. They can orbit out there for a night, small satellites of concern, while you rest at the center in a quiet patch of calm. By morning, they may look a little smaller, a little farther away, a little easier to carry. You might also notice that even your worries obey the same rhythm as everything else. They rise, expand, seem overwhelming for a time, and then, if you give them space, they soften, cool, contract. Nothing in the universe holds its most intense form forever. Not stars, not storms, not feelings. The same laws that let light race and particles hum also allow intensity to fade. Rest is written into the fabric of existence. So you can trust this just for tonight. Your mind will not forget how to think if you let it quiet down. Your life will not unravel if you allow yourself a few hours of not holding everything together. You are not stepping away from reality when you slip towards sleep. You are stepping into the part of reality that renews everything else. If you listen closely, very closely, you may feel that old question about speed, change, shape, one last time. It no longer asks what is fastest, it simply asks what is kindest. The universe has shown you light and limits and strange particles and ancient signals. Now it offers you something softer, the permission to slow, to stop measuring, to drift. The rhythm is still there, beneath everything, steady as ever. Inhale, exhale, expansion, return, waking, sleeping, knowing, not needing to know. You are carried by it, whether you are paying attention or not. But when you do notice, as you are noticing now, it feels like a hand at your back, guiding you gently toward the place you were always meant to reach at the end of a long day. That place is very simple. A dark room, a comfortable position, a body that has done enough, a mind that is allowed to set its questions down. Outside, space widens in all directions. Inside, awareness softens into something for which we hardly have a word, not quite thinking, not quite dreaming, not quite gone, just resting in the middle. If sleep has arrived already, these words may be dissolving into the background, turning into texture rather than meaning. If you are still awake, they can simply be a soft companion until drowsiness catches up with you. There is no need to force it. You cannot push yourself into sleep any more than the universe could force itself into existence. Both came and come from a gentle tipping point, a moment when effort gives way to allowance. So let yourself lean just a little toward that tipping point. Let your shoulders sink a fraction deeper. Let your jaw unclench by a breath or two. Let your eyes rest more heavily in their sockets. Imagine the whole sky above you, full of stars you cannot see from here, keeping their quiet watch while you do the most honest thing a living being can do. You rest, and the universe continues its patient work all around you and within you. Somewhere, light is racing. Somewhere, new particles are being born. Somewhere, other minds are wandering through their own questions, following their own beams of curiosity. You are part of that great, intricate weave, and tonight your thread is moving into a darker, softer color on the tapestry. There is nothing more you need to add right now. No more ideas you have to chase. No more images you have to hold. You have followed the question of speed all the way into stillness, and stillness is answering in its own language. Slow breath, heavy limbs, a mind beginning to drift out of sentences and into silence. Whatever tomorrow brings, it will arrive in its own time, carried on the same cosmic rhythms that brought you here. For now, you are exactly where you need to be. One small, luminous awareness in a vast, unhurried universe, finally giving itself permission to do what even stars must eventually do. The boundaries between your breath and the universe's breath grow thinner until they almost disappear. The quiet that once felt outside you has settled inward, becoming part of the space behind your ribs, part of the soft rise and fall in your chest. You're breathing air that was once inside stars, air that passed through oceans and forests and other hearts. You are the continuation of their exhale, and one day, what leaves your lungs will become part of someone else's first gentle inhale. It's all one motion, one long shared breath moving through different forms. You let that thought open out around you. The universe's chest rises again in your imagination, slow, unhurried, timeless. The dark no longer feels like a question. It feels like a blanket. The hush around you is not empty. It's full of music that has set its instruments down for a while. The song you've been following all this time hasn't stopped. It's simply become simpler, quieter, wiser. Somewhere deep inside that quiet, you can feel the next beginning gathering. Not dramatic, not rushed, just the faint shimmer of new notes forming at the edge of possibility. The universe is about to wake again, not in a burst of panic, but in a slow opening of awareness. It will be reborn, not only in fire, but in understanding. You share one last long inward drift with it, a soft, spacious kind of breath that seems to include galaxies and memories and every small life that has ever wondered why it exists. As that breath turns, as the great inhale becomes the start of an exhale, a thought moves through you like a whisper. When the next universe opens its eyes, may it remember the calm between its breaths. For a long, immeasurable moment, nothing moves. Time forgets how to step forward. There are no stars yet, no atoms, no distances to cross, only a smooth, endless field of quiet potential. You're suspended in that field like a thought waiting to be felt, hovering between nothing and everything. You can sense it there, a tremor folded inside the stillness, a change so small it barely counts as motion at all. It doesn't arrive as an explosion. It arrives as a sigh, a single vibration rolling outward through the void. It's like the soft opening of an eyelid after a very long rest. From that tiny gesture, reality begins to unfold again. Space stretches, not like a violent tear, but like dawn light warming a cold horizon. Little ripples of imbalance appear in the field, tiny seeds in the quiet. One day, they'll grow into galaxies. The moment feels different from the old pictures of a big bang you might have carried in your mind. This is gentler. The silence before has left its imprint. The new expansion feels less like being hurled into existence and more like a deep, steady inhale. The fabric stretches, and you feel yourself stretching with it. You're no longer just watching. You are woven into the threads. You drift along the first currents of energy as they gather into fields and then into patterns. Space hums, temperature rises, movement becomes structure, matter condenses. Somewhere in that growing dance, light stirs. You sense it before you, see it, the first shine, relearning how to brighten the dark. It spills out shyly at first, as though remembering the path it has taken so many times before, then grows surer, illuminating the newborn universe from within. As waves overlap and frequencies braid together, the young cosmos becomes translucent, then softly radiant. It feels less like someone turned on a light, and more like awareness itself has expanded. The universe realizes, once again, that it exists. You feel that realization like a shared breath. The basic rules begin to knit themselves back into place. The speed of light settles into its familiar role. Gravity finds its curve. Quantum fields tune themselves as if tightening strings on an instrument that has been played since forever. There is a rhythm to it all, a kind of muscle memory in the fabric of reality. Nothing is truly starting from scratch. Every vibration carries a faint echo of all the others that came before. You sense it as a kind of wisdom threaded into the newness. The universe has not forgotten. The memory of ancient galaxies, old lives, vanished questions, and long-ago nights of wondering is present here, not as clear recollection, but as softness, as balance. Perhaps each version of the universe inherits something quiet from the last, the way a tree grown from fallen leaves carries the forest in its rings. You drift toward a newborn star, gathering itself from swirling gas. Dust collapses inward, gravity squeezes, the core flares to life. Fusion begins. The light that streams out into the dark feels familiar, same physics, same fire, but with a deeper, older warmth, as though the universe is just a little more aware of itself this time. In that warmth, you recognize your own place in the story. Every time a mind like yours has looked up at the sky, every time a question has been asked in the darkness, that curiosity has folded back into the fabric of reality. It's all part of the memory being carried forward. The universe remembers itself through the beings who wonder about it. You flow through ages in a single, drifting thought. Atoms cool and pair off, hydrogen, helium, traces of lithium, the alphabet of matter learning its letters again. Clouds collapse into stars. Stars live and die. New elements are forged and scattered. Planets gather from stray rock and dust, circling quietly in the light of their suns. On some of them, something stirs in oceans and soil. Life begins again, in forms you don't yet know. And beneath all of it, you can still feel that echo, the hum of previous universes, previous songs, folded into every probability. Nothing is an exact repetition, but everything is a continuation. Eventually, somewhere under an unfamiliar sky, a pair of eyes opens. They may not look like human eyes, not yet, or ever, but they belong to a being that can feel, that can respond, that can begin to ask. Light touches whatever passes for its skin, and something inside it changes. There is a first sense of contrast. This side bright, that side dim. This warmth, that cool. The universe has just taken another step from existing to being experienced. From that tiny difference, everything else will grow. Curiosity will branch out again, from instinct into thought, from sensation into reflection. On one world, a mind will watch its own sky and quietly wonder, what is all this? On another, beings will find their own ways to tell the story of beginnings. The details will change. the song will stay the same. You feel all of those future questions as a kind of distant weather in the field around you. They are the next verses of the same melody. With each new mind that asks, the universe sees itself from another angle. With each new act of kindness, each new pattern of understanding, it remembers a little more of what it is capable of. You realize, gently, that you are one of those angles, one bright point of view in a vast, shared awareness. The question, why am I here, that rises up in you from time to time is not a defect, not a glitch. It is the universe speaking in your particular voice. It is the same question that was carried in the first tremor, now dressed in your memories, your fears, your hopes. For a long, quiet stretch, you just float with that understanding. You don't try to answer anything. You simply let the feeling of belonging spread out inside you, like light inside a lantern. The cosmos does not need you to solve it. It only needs you to be exactly what you already are, a piece of itself, aware. You sense that this is the point the story has been circling all along. Not a grand conclusion, but a soft recognition. There was never a hard edge between you and the universe. The same breath moves through both. The same questions echo in both. The same light that runs between galaxies flickers behind your closed eyes when you dream. You let your awareness settle into that truth like a body settling deeper into a bed. The urge to search eases. The need to move faster than anything fades. What remains is simple and immense at once. You are here, and here is the universe knowing itself from the inside. For a while, you rest there without words. If memories arise, they feel lighter. If thoughts appear, they move more slowly, like clouds drifting across a quiet sky. Nothing in you has to hurry. The laws of physics will keep doing their work. Planets will keep turning. Light will keep traveling. Neutrinos will keep sliding through matter. Gravity will keep holding everything in a loose, patient embrace, all without your effort. You are allowed to do something else, something the universe loves just as much as movement. You are allowed to be still. In that stillness, a softer feeling drifts in gratitude, perhaps, though it doesn't need a name. Gratitude that you get to exist at all, that you get to ask questions, that you get to feel small and vast at the same time. Gratitude that you are made of the same matter as stars and of the same awareness that once looked out from other faces in other times and will look out from other eyes long after you are gone. You might never know, in any final way, what the universe is or means, but you can know what this moment feels like. Calm, open, gently held. That is enough. If this long, quiet journey has kept you company, helped your mind loosen, or made the cosmos feel a little closer and kinder, you're always welcome to come back to it, or to wander into another softly told story on another night. A quiet tap on like or subscribe, whenever it feels right, can help more sleepy, curious minds find their way here too. But there is no rush. You don't need to move your hands at all if you don't want to. Just knowing that you listened is already part of the story. For now, the best thing you can offer the universe and yourself is rest. The same rest that stars fall into when their burning is done. The same rest that waits between one universe and the next. Let your thoughts fall away as they're ready. Let your awareness dim to a gentle glow. Somewhere, far above and far within, the cosmos continues its quiet work, and you, a tiny, luminous fragment of its memory, are finally, deeply, peacefully allowed to sleep.